First of all, your view on the new administration and the priorities thereof. You think infrastructure is number one? You think tax is number one?
I think just staying alive is the only thing that they seem to care about. To me, the infrastructure thing is a headline. It's not actually a plan. And relative to Silicon Valley, so far the actions they've taken are extremely destructive. The head of the FCC has made it incredibly clear that he is going to be hostile to the needs of consumers and, by extension, entrepreneurs who are trying to create new businesses and technology. So I am not optimistic. I think that the opportunities for any president of the United States to build great value through technology are there. But the industry needs some help right now. It got itself a little bit out of joint over the last few years, and there are great opportunities, but I think also challenges. I think the industry's been way too focused on getting rid of jobs. And we're in this weird situation where technically the economy is at full employment, but tens of millions of people feel that they've been left behind in this cycle. And I think they really have. And to me, I'd like to see Silicon Valley have a new challenge like Moore's Law. But the challenge would be create industries that employ people in good jobs. I think if you had that kind of a challenge, Silicon Valley would over time rise to it, and a lot of great things would come out of it. I mean, Silicon Valley itself created a lot of great jobs. There's no reason we can't be doing this broadly.
So, because it's fascinating that the administration, of course, have targeted immigration as the key threat, whereas actually automation is what many people feel has been eroding the jobs that are trying to be resuscitated in manufacturing. But should we not be looking for a paradigm shift in the way that we all work? Are you not more of that viewpoint, or do you feel that actually we need to somehow have everyone fully employed, but what sort of jobs are we going to be creating? Well,
to me, that's the challenge. I look at this in a very simple way, which is the economy requires consumers. Consumers spend 2/3 of the money. And so it doesn't work if large percentages of the population don't participate in any economic recovery. Yeah. So the goal has to be to make jobs more remunerative, more fulfilling, so that people have more money to spend. Henry Ford's great innovation wasn't really the production line. It was the notion that he was going to pay his employees well enough that they could afford to buy Ford cars.
But then eventually we saw a turn and a down cycle after that. They couldn't afford to buy the cars anymore, and we saw an unbelievable unveiling of infrastructure.
But I would argue that one of the challenges we face in the country is that we've been doing the same things now for nearly 40 years, which is to say cutting taxes and getting rid of regulations. And there were huge benefits to doing those at the early part of that cycle. But I think the benefits have been accruing to fewer and fewer people in recent years. And it's time to try something different.
Universal basic income? Would it be better to have a net rather than jobs?
I don't know. I'm not competent to make that call. What I am competent to say, though, is that it doesn't have to be the way it is right now. Okay. That we have essentially, you saw this week United Airlines with that horrible situation. The last few weeks we've had these increasing pieces of news about Wells Fargo. Those are a direct result of deregulation going so far that companies literally have no regard to their customers, and no fear of repercussions if they treat them badly. And in my mind, we have to make some changes, because those things aren't working, and they're not healthy for the economy to have people treat their customers that badly.
You're fascinating with the fact that you say, okay, incentivize Silicon Valley or entrepreneurs, wherever they might be based across the world, not just the US, to create long-term gainful employment.
Well, that was the model until 1980, right? Until 1980, companies viewed themselves as not just having customers and shareholders, they also had the communities in which they operate.
But efficiency, doesn't that eventually erode that? And how, therefore, what sort of roles, what sort of jobs?
Why is efficiency the only thing we should focus on, right? I look at this and I think it's taken us to where we are today. And I'm going, too much of a good thing. Okay. Some efficiency is really, really healthy.
So slow it down?
I'm not saying slow it down, just reprioritize. Okay. Sit there and say, right now we're going to have a period of time where we reward people for creating jobs, where we reward people for industries in which...
Trump is. He keeps on trying to get people in to announce yet more jobs.
He's signing up to take credit for jobs created by other people. The economy is basically at full employment. There's nothing he can do on jobs, right? What we have to do is qualitatively change the kind of jobs that are out there. And the sharing economy is not the answer. People have got to have jobs where they can take care of things like health care. I mean, to me, I don't know about universal employment, but I do, or universal income. What I do know, though, is that universal health care would actually take away one of the biggest fears that people have and make it possible for the economy to do better than it's doing now. But I just think right now we've hollowed out the economy. We've eliminated the middle class in ways that are just not healthy for public companies, not healthy for private companies. If you want to be a business person, I think you just need to ask the question, is there a better way than the way we're doing it right now? And I think the answer is likely to be yes.